it's probably not exciting to go into the details, but just so you all know, it took hours of work to correct a tech issue.
Of Rylan's work. I don't think I did not help at all, I will say.
True, yeah. Yeah, you were a lot of dead weight on that one.
Yep.
But no, it took a lot of time to fix, and that's how much we love you all, and we want to keep producing content, so we're working hard to make that happen. Welcome to The Wardrobe. This is the Who You Know podcast. I'm Rylan Deemer.
And I'm Elisa Wildy.
We've got a great show for you all today. Very excited to talk about a few things. I had some weekend plans. I saw an orchestra perform.
I was like, are we giving it away yet?
Yeah, you were doing a violin, right?
Or a viola.
Okay. Those are the same things in my uncultured mind. We wanted to talk a little bit about our thoughts like after the Marcus episode, which recommend you all check out. Marcus was an incredible guest, and he shared a really powerful couple of stories with us. And then we also wanted to talk about
a couple things about the Met Gala. I am not for sure someone who ever normally watches like big fashion events like that, so we'll see where it goes.
But yeah, let's jump into it. I think we might have a guest who just walked down the stairs.
I walked in today and I got no greetings from the kiddies. I was a little bummed.
Yeah, they kind of just didn't show up.
Yeah. Audrey always says hi. I guess, what do you want to talk about the orchestra? What stood out to you, or what didn't stand out to you? I don't know how you feel about it.
Yeah, we went to an orchestra here in the city, and the main part of the show is a performance of Tchaikovsky's Fourth Symphony, and Tchaikovsky's my favorite orchestral composer.
Didn't know this. Okay.
Yeah, big time. Actually, really like the 1812 Overture, which is not part of the Fourth Symphony, but I'm also not super familiar with the Fourth Symphony, so it's nice to like hear some stuff that I don't normally hear of his. And honestly, I'm just thankful that it wasn't the Nutcracker Suite, which for me is like not a very entertaining.
So how many times do you think you've gone and seen an orchestra?
More than I'd be able to count, because I used to perform in concert bands, symphony band, and other bands, but as far as like orchestra stuff, concert and symphony. I played the trombone for, I don't know, 6 years.
Okay, yep.
I was okay at it. And I've even performed some of Tchaikovsky's work. Yep. So for me, like, I've heard enough where I feel like, Tchaikovsky's my jam. Also, like on the, if I'm just going for like piano, Franz Liszt. Mm. And both Tchaikovsky and Franz Liszt are, I think like their emotions kind of come through a lot more in their work than how I feel about other artists, or maybe I just connect more with the emotions that they express. And so that's why those two are really my favorite. Like,
so how often do you listen to classical music?
Almost never.
Like that's why it surprised me that you have favorite composers, I guess. But is it kind of back from when you played and kind of figured that out?
I'd say a lot of it's back from that, and then maybe once a year I'll throw on some classical music and just jam out to that. But it has to be like angry or sad, or it has to like have some deep emotion to it. Even like joyous, but like it has to be like obvious what the emotion is, as opposed to some works where I feel like it's kind of like, because something's just kind of like meandering and not really evoking in a specific emotion, I won't enjoy it as much.
Yeah, there are definitely times that I've gone to a performance and something is so like slow, and like maybe I'm just not picking up what's going on in the piece that much, where I think I could actually like fall asleep. But I like really do appreciate this type of music, but sometimes it's just like doesn't get me intrigued or like going, probably like it does other people. So sometimes it could be like, oh man, I'm going to sleep, but
I think that's okay. Like, I think it's acceptable to fall asleep during a orchestra performance.
As long as you don't snore.
Yeah.
But
I did hear one snore
oh my
during
God.
it wasn't during the Tchaikovsky part of the performance. They played some other works like before the intermission.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah,
Dang,
somebody did.
They had an intermission?
Yeah, it was
I didn't-
pretty long.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think the last time I went to a performance. I need to go again. Okay.
Yeah.
I started
Yeah.
looking at their like season stuff to see like what I should go to. Because you brought it up. Yeah.
Right.
And also I've never heard Symphony Number 4 either, but I've also played some of Tchaikovsky's stuff. At least I don't think I've probably played parts of 1812 Overture. I don't know if they're parts, but sometimes you know they like
The canon part, or did you play another instrument?
What do you mean the canon?
There are actual cannons in the
I
1812
did not know
overture.
that.
Oh, it's yeah.
No, we did not play that that part. But I'm pretty sure we've played other Tchaikovsky stuff that I wouldn't be able to tell you like what it was, like movement 2 from some other symphony.
Sure. And my joking question about the canon was more like what instrument do you play?
The viola.
Oh, okay.
That's why I said I might be playing the viola.
Gotcha.
I actually don't know how to play the violin. I mean, like you said, it's the same thing, just 2 strings are different, but also the score, what is it called? Treble clef, alto clef, that is different. Violin plays treble. So I wouldn't know how to read the treble clef as well. I think I should be able to, but I'm not good at that. I was going to ask, when you're sitting in the, like at a performance like that, what are you looking at on the stage?
Oh, that's a great question, and actually one that I thought about during the orchestra this past weekend.
Yeah.
Or I guess a couple days ago. I usually look at the conductor's back.
Really? That's it? Like,
well, because like if I'm looking at the conductor's back in my like tight peripheral, I can see their arms and like where they're directing the music, and that kind of like guides my oral focus. You know?
Yeah.
Oral? How do you pronounce the word? Aural. Not
Probably.
ORAL.
Yeah.
AURL.
Oral. Yeah, that's hard.
So it directs like my kind of like my ears' attention.
Huh.
My eyes though, like I noticed them getting really tired because I was just kind of like staring straight ahead. And so after a while I just like closed my eyes.
Yep.
And then like while my eyes were closed, I was uncommonly self-conscious during this performance. While my eyes were closed, I was like, well, I don't want people to think that I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
Despite what I just said about it being okay to sleep. So like I like steepled my fingers, you know? Oh, when I did that, Audrey jumped.
Oh.
Yeah, so I like steepled my fingers with like my eyes closed, so it was like clear that I wasn't sleeping. But like thinking back on it now, it's like I didn't need to do that.
I think the way I would do it, I would close my eyes and like move with the music, like trying to hear it and show that I'm like with it.
Yeah, Chen was like bopping during one of the pieces, which I really appreciated.
I do love watching the conductor. I think when I was younger, I really wanted to be a conductor at some point.
Oh.
And because I love like, just like you think like, okay, you just move your hand like this, that's what you do. But like, there's so many different ways they can like make the music into their hand motions. I don't know, or the opposite way around.
Well, and you see like they're almost like pulling like the orchestra like up and down, and like you really see like so much emotion and like energy being like expressed in their arm and hand motions and their face too.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really an incredible skill to be able to like conduct in a way that gets the orchestra like aligned with you.
Yep. Yeah, so like I played in college, and so I knew the orchestra conductor obviously, and he did a conducting class, and I was like, oh, this is just a 2-credit course that I could fit in and have some fun with one semester. So he's like, I think you should come in and talk to me about it first. So I like went in and talked to him, and he's like, it's more than just conducting. You also have to sing the notes for people and everything. And I'm like, I'm out. I'm not singing in front of, like, our school had opera singers, and that's what I would be conducting. I'm like, I am not singing in front of these people who are amazing at singing. Like,
why would you have to sing? I guess I don't get it.
I think just to show them how to do the notes. I feel like I remember my orchestra conductor singing some parts like it should sound like this and like sing la 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 la. I'm not gonna sing on here, but
well, we don't want to run into copyright violations.
So yeah, I did not end up doing a conducting course, but I love it. But otherwise, I thought maybe you would like watch the trombones because like can relate to them. I guess.
I tried to like spot them, but there were too many people in between us and the brass to really get a good look.
Gotta find the other section next time.
Well, I don't know if they're unless we sat on like the far right side or stage left side. I don't think it would be easy to see them at all.
Gotcha. Yep.
And the acoustics are going to be better, not in the middle, but like.
Yep.
Do you still play viola?
So when I left college, I lived at my parents' for like 6 months. I might have touched it a little bit in there. And then I moved out, left the viola at home. And now probably just a couple months ago, probably like it was before Christmas, I think. Right before Christmas, I went and got my viola back from their house. Played it a little bit while Dan was not in the apartment, see how I could do.
Yeah.
And just haven't touched it since then either. So not really, but I feel like I would want to.
Okay.
Because I also got a keyboard. Shout out to David. If you're watching. I got it from him. And so I'd like to be able to learn some piano and viola stuff. I thought it'd be really cool around Christmas time if Dan could learn a very simple piano song while I play like the cool parts on the viola.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that actually reminds me. So after the Tchaikovsky performance, there's a violin soloist who performed in like the first half of the show when they weren't playing Tchaikovsky. She performed by like the bar inside of that building along with a piano accompaniment, and she did all kinds of like different styles of music, like so like, you know, she did like classical stuff. She did like fiddling.
Oh, okay.
Like Irish folk tune. Like just she did some like Ukrainian piece. Like that's she cool. Just like jumped between a bunch of different stuff. She played like, I don't know, probably 6 or 8 different things like after the show, like as like a bonus performance, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Also one of the most talented violinists that I've ever heard. Oh, and it was so cool moment from the show. She was going wild on this piece, which had over 10,000 violin notes as a part of it. And she had it all memorized, and like it was so intense. And part of the bow like frayed like during the performance.
Yeah.
And like she noticed it like in between songs, and she just like the look on her face was like. It was like she, I'm trying to like, the expression was like pitiful bow, and she like ripped off the shredded pieces and just like threw them.
Oh my
But
gosh.
like there was such like an intensity to it, and it was like, whoa, she's like definitely a master of her craft. Like the way that she performed, and like just the vibe of like, oh, I shredded the bow.
Yeah, I've definitely seen people shred the bow, but I don't know if I've seen the dramatic.
Yeah, she just like ripped it off, ripped the other piece off, threw them like.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you definitely made me want to go to the orchestra soon.
Yeah. We've seen a couple performances here in this city that we live in. I mean, it's been great every time. I think we've got a lot of really talented musicians here. And our last episode was the chat that we had with Marcus Shields, and I thought it was a wonderful episode. The amount of like recorded content that we had was quite a bit longer. Like I think the final cut was probably 15 minutes shorter than the raw footage.
At least, yeah.
Yeah. And that's because we had to take a couple breaks during the recording, you know, just to kind of like it was some very intense content. You know, I think it's important that we like chilled out a couple times like during that. And also I'm just honored that Marcus was you know, willing to share his story here on our podcast.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
The first thing that I always think of is it's different, I guess, for a viewer or a listener who doesn't know Marcus, I think, because personally knowing Marcus, he's always this like fun, crazy, never serious guy. So actually having this like serious conversation with him was just, I guess, eye-opening and amazing to me, because like there's a lot of people like that in the world where they always look so fun and like they're always joking around, whatever, but like they could have some serious, not even like serious things that happen to them in life, but they have some like strong beliefs in life too that you might not know about, because it's just not something you talk about in like your everyday going out to eat, bar, whatever conversations. So first of all, that was just something really powerful to me. And so like I made sure Marcus knew that after too. I'm just like, wow, thanks again for sharing. It's always nice. Like it's nice to have serious conversations sometimes.
Yeah. And that's a big part of why this podcast exists. We're trying to provide something that we don't necessarily get on like a day-to-day basis when we're just hanging out with friends or at a happy hour or whatever. We don't often sit down and have like long-form conversations to delve into, you know, your past and how that created the person you are now, or your passions and motivations in life. So
yeah, and this was like another example of like I had some things like I knew about Marcus, and that's kind of how we kind of start when we ask someone to be on. We like say like, want to talk about this or this, but then I also ask them like, what are you passionate about, or what do you want to talk about? And so like one of the things he brought up was religion, and I was kind of like, oh, I thought we might talk about that, but like the fact that he wanted to talk about it like made it more like, oh wow, I didn't know that you like had so much to say about it. And he definitely did, and it was a really cool story, I think, especially for me, because I don't know if I've like had that same strong religious experience that he had, and so it's just really interesting to see how other people get that passionate about it, or like how it came to be that they care so much about it, because I don't have that same experience. So I just love to see how the other people feel. Again, it's like part of the reason why I love the podcast and guests is like I don't have these experiences and other people do.
And I think also that episode in particular, afterward, I really felt the responsibility we have, the weight of that. I felt it after the episode, because we wanted to.
Are you thinking, well, because I can think of that two ways of what you're bringing up right now. Are you thinking like the people that we bring on, responsibility towards them, or like responsibility for like in front of public of people who watch?
More the responsibility we have for our guests to treat their stories with respect and dignity.
Yes.
And you know, we put a lot of time, or I should say you put a lot of time and work into like the editing process to really make those stories, like the truth of those stories really come out in the most powerful way that they can. Yep. And I think that's such an important part of what we do. I like what you said though about like responsibility to the audience as well, because I think there is an aspect of like, you know, we want the messages that are going out into the world to be something that like uplifts people and shows them like a deeper side to humanity than what they get in their like day-to-day conversations with people. So
yeah, thinking about like the responsibility with guests, I feel like I keep forgetting to tell you this, but I feel like you did a really good job of maybe a couple things. I'm thinking of like being respectful and like asking like maybe kind of like questions to go into another conversation or like thoughts on it, while still being respectful of like how the guest is feeling, but also just bringing the conversation back and linking it. And so as I was editing, I was like, wow, that's a really good job of Rylan. Whereas I felt like I saw myself like, I don't really know what to do in this situation. So it's kind of like a new experience for me as a co-host.
Yeah, and that's a skill I think we're both improving on a lot as we have more of these episodes. Being a host is a different style of communication than any other. Like I don't do this in any other part of my life, so knowing how to like respectfully guide someone toward a topic and then put the freedom in their hands as to whether or not they want to actually talk about it is key. And then, you know, we check in with the guests periodically too. You know, is this okay? Do we want to take a break? We can cut this if you want, like that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say it, like not only asking the question, but making sure they're comfortable answering it before they do, or knowing afterwards that we don't have to share whatever they talked about. There are just so many new experiences for me, just having such a powerful story in front of me was a different experience. Being able to host that, thinking about it afterwards, because afterwards I was also thinking like two things of like, someday if I have a kid, like, first of all, how do you help guide them so the situation doesn't happen for them? Thinking about his college experience, he had, like, if you didn't watch it, please watch the other episode, but there was like this hazing experience he talked about, like, how do you guide your child through that type of thing, / how do you make sure your child knows what's respectful and not respectful on the other end of the hazing type of thing. And I feel like it's just like kind of like the lessons you teach them growing up, but it's
what do you
like
mean on the other end of the hazing?
The people doing the hazing.
I see. So like guiding them to be like
don't,
a good leader who doesn't like force things on people.
Yeah, and maybe even good leaders stopping things like that too.
Yeah.
So yeah, that made me think about, first of all, how terrifying it is to have a kid someday and have that responsibility in your hands. But yeah, how do you teach them growing up the good lessons? Yeah,
and I also think sometimes it's unavoidable too. Like I don't want. I hear my inner voice telling me like, I don't want this to be like an indictment on Marcus's parents or anything.
No, yeah.
Because sometimes these things are just like, you either can't plan for them or it'll happen no matter like how a kid is raised, and there's always going to be, you know, things like that in life. So
exactly why I said it's scary, because I feel like most definitely you're gonna have curveballs thrown at you.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you know, me and my siblings, our parents are like the best parents in the world, but all three of us kids have had our questionable moments. So I think it's just kind of unavoidable too.
One thing I really liked, one of my coworkers mentioned that they have kids. She's just like, you know, they're gonna make mistakes. And like, so not really even pinning it on herself, like, oh, I didn't teach them right, but like, they're gonna make mistakes and you just have to teach them afterwards. The lessons are like, and so you probably teach your own self lessons too. That's why oldest childs are the craziest. Just kidding. I'm an oldest child, so because the parents don't have everything figured out yet by the first child. I don't know. My sister and I are so different though that you can't really compare us.
There's so many years between me and my siblings where I feel like maybe the rules don't apply as much. Although they say the youngest child is the most attention seeking, and that's probably true for my family.
Yeah. I don't know if our youngest pans out to the stereotypes as well, just because we have such different personalities. Yeah. But did you have certain thoughts that we didn't talk about?
I think that's basically all I wanted to get into. I think it's a nice, you know, it's a nice like kind of moment to do a retrospective on like what we're doing here and why we're doing this. And I know our episodes without guests don't get as much traction or engagement, but I don't know why I brought that up.
Obviously, it's really sitting on your heart.
I think like, you know, enough of the just co-host kind of episode. we're kind of like learning more about each other, but the audience has heard so much at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know how much more there is to me, to be honest.
I know. It seems like every week I have to experience something new so that I can talk about it that week.
I kind of feel that pressure maybe a little bit, but I think I'm also okay with some weeks not learning things about myself and just having shorter episodes or something.
Yep.
But also, I think the episode with Marcus, to me, it like reinvigorated like my sense of what the podcast is and what it can be, and what I appreciate about it. Yeah, so I guess I just wanted to kind of highlight that, and I think we did a good job of doing that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It hit home for me as like you said, a good episode and like what I think is important about this. So thanks again, Marcus. I don't know if you listen, but
yeah, we'll send them this clip.
Yeah. So do we feel like talking about the Met Gala?
I think we have to.
Okay, so maybe some background. I don't know how great I am at sharing this because all of my knowledge right now is a couple Google searches. Oh no! Apparently we forgot to turn the lights on.
Yeah, for the audio listeners, we didn't have our... we have most of our studio lights on. We just didn't have I don't know what to even call these.
You know, I think
Christmas
I looked...
lights? I don't know.
Yeah, LED strip is what I'm going to call it. But I did look up and notice like, oh, I don't know why the picture looks kind of dull today. I think it was the lights.
I think we've got enough color on the...
We do have really good color today.
Yeah, I think we're okay. We're good. We're good. Besides, we have Spotify listeners now, so they don't care.
They don't even care, yeah. So, the Met Gala, some would say, I don't know if you agree, it's the biggest fashion event for celebrities. And I'm kind of stealing...
I agree.
Okay. Honestly, I stole that from Amber Heard's testimony this week. That's how she described the Met Gala. Anyway.
I'm not going to go into that.
So last time I came here and we had video troubles and we didn't film.
Yeah.
I talked about how I had a dream about Balenciaga. I don't even remember what the dream was about, but the Balenciaga brand was in my head. And I think it was because I kept seeing the Kim Kardashian Balenciaga look from the Met Gala last year in preparation for this year's Met Gala, because I didn't know that it was happening like either that weekend or the weekend after. So I bet that's why I was having a dream about it, because I kept seeing it come up.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it happened, and you might be thinking, like, literally this was my thought, like, didn't the Met Gala just happen? It wasn't a whole year since it happened.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking, wow, like I thought like Kim Kardashian's Balenciaga, that was the full body like black thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that feels very recent.
Yeah. And so like it was, and I think it got pushed back because of COVID. It looks like it happened about September last year and happened in April, May this year. Couldn't tell you which weekend.
Sure.
And so they ended up doing a 2-part theme because they were going to be so close together. And so like the theme from last year was called something about America, a lexicon of fashion. And so I had to look up what lexicon means, and it's the vocabulary of a person, language, or branch of knowledge. Still don't really get it, but it says it wants to celebrate emerging America-based designers.
Okay. Like Balenciaga.
I guess.
No.
So, okay.
No, not.
Okay. I don't even know. But that was something they talked about this year. At least people reviewing outfits said people didn't really follow the theme, because in this year's was America, an anthology of fashion, which is basically like a collection of fashion of America throughout the ages.
Okay.
So thinking about that, it made me feel like a lot of people fit the theme on what I want to talk about today, but some people will say no. But I think it's because they heard the actual exhibit that goes into the Met has like a different title, maybe. Correct me if I'm wrong here. I really don't know like what happens, because Met Gala happens, and I feel like then an exhibit is at the Met. So when I went to the Met, we saw the camp exhibit.
Wait. Okay, so you went to the Met and saw an exhibit after a Met Gala.
Yep, and I think I did figure out that camp was a theme of, that year's Met Gala, I guess. Camp is very interesting. Dan and I were very confused when we came out of the Met that day.
You didn't feel like if you walked in there not knowing what the theme was, you would not have determined the theme to have been camp by the time you left.
I think we were still confused what camp meant. So, like, it's very obvious when you walk in.
Not like camping, like in a tent with a sleeping bag. It was not that.
No. It's, to me, we're probably using it so wrong, but we'd be like, oh man, that's so camp. Like, kind of like Mean Girls style. Like, that's so fetch. That's so camp. They try to explain it to you when you walk in. Like, I think this was just part of this exhibit. I don't know if they do that for all exhibits, but it basically said it's anything. But to me, it was like, it's out there. So I think that's when like Katy Perry wore like a hamburger costume or something like that. Like, it's just very out
like
there.
Campy stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of tongue in cheek in a way.
Yeah, I think that's a word they use to describe it.
Yeah, I gotcha. Almost like an ironic fashion.
Yes, ironic, yes.
Yeah.
But they don't explain that well at the Met. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think they have like the exhibit for the rest of the year. Anyway, so we're on a collection of America throughout the ages. I think Blake Lively was like a host, so she was one of the first people to go on.
I know I said this earlier, but do you want to show the camera your nails?
Can I do this? That works pretty well.
Oh, yeah. The new camera's actually good enough to show the nails.
Yeah, because there was an episode a while ago.
Yeah, you just like held it up as like a blur.
Yeah, I said I was gonna do yellow next, but I want them to grow out just a little bit more for yellow. So they're purple, still summery, spring.
Yeah. It's kind of like a pastel.
Yeah. Yep. It's good. I love getting my nails done. Okay. Yeah. I was gonna go to it.
Sorry, I know the interruption doesn't help the flow of thought.
So I'm gonna show Rylan these outfits as I talk about them, so that maybe he has some opinions on them.
Are we gonna put the picture in the episode?
Are we allowed to? Because like, you know how it's not like my picture. I know other people do it.
We could put like hand-drawn versions.
Yeah, I could put some artwork in there. I'm practicing my graphic design. So this is basically Blake Lively showed up to the Met Gala in this like copper dress, and it was supposed to be like New York.
Y'all can Google this if we don't have the visuals.
Met Gala 2022. It's all these like New York. It's supposed to be.
Oh, that looks cool.
Yeah, it's like she put a lot of detail into it because like her crown, for example, has 7 points because the Statue of Liberty has 7 points, and then it has like 25 gemstones because the Statue of Liberty has like 25 windows.
Really, like regal kind of pose too, right?
Yeah. And like, so it's supposed to be like the Statue of Liberty. And so the really cool part is as she walked up the steps, they then like unraveled her dress into, I don't even know what you call it, but you know how the Statue of Liberty is not copper colored. She looks like the
Statue of Liberty. Yeah. Because it's like when copper, is it oxidizes?
I think so.
It like turns that, or tarnishes or whatever, it turns that like greenish color. Yep. And that's very cool. And
so she even like, I think they took gloves off, and so then her gloves changed colors too. Yeah, it was really, I think I would say everyone agrees it was the best outfit on the floor.
I would have audibly gasped.
Yeah. Well, I think if you watch the video, everyone's like, oh my God. And they're like screaming like it's amazing.
Yeah.
So that was really cool because hers was like very New York. This is what it is. And I heard Blake Lively doesn't even have a stylist and she does her own stuff. So like everywhere all the time. Maybe that's true. I just heard someone say it. But yeah, so that was really cool. And she said this just kind of represents like even just New York buildings and not even just the Statue of Liberty. But favorite outfit for sure. And then we had this. You haven't heard anything about Kim Kardashian's outfit this year?
So she wore Marilyn Monroe's actual dress.
Yes. So I feel like a couple days leading up to it, everyone thought she was going to do it, and she did.
Yeah, she had to lose like 20 pounds in 3 weeks to fit into it, I guess.
Yeah,
which is
she did.
a lot of weight loss in a very short period of time.
Yeah, so a lot of people were like, we should not be like doing this in front of the public, but whatever. So apparently it's the dress that Marilyn Monroe wore during her happy birthday song for JFK.
Yeah.
But you can see that she's wearing a shawl. Is that what it's called with it? Like a little coat on the shoulders.
That fluffy white thing?
Yep, because they couldn't actually zip it up in the back.
Oh.
So she is hiding that. And like apparently the dress could only be worn for like a certain amount of time where like historians wouldn't want her to wear it more. So right after she walked up the stairs, she like took it off and then changed into a replica for the rest of the night.
That's
but
cool.
people are like, why not just wear the replica? No one would have known. But it was cool to me. A lot of people were like, is that on theme though? But based on what I just said, like a collection of works, a collection of fashion throughout the years, like representing America, I feel like that's a pretty good thing to go with. But
yeah,
I don't know.
That seems very on theme.
Yeah. Whereas, like, I mean, Blake Lively's, I think everyone thought she was very on theme because it's so America, New York.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, they're both on theme.
Yeah,
in different ways.
I think so too. Yeah. But it was kind of cool. I feel like I don't have a lot of other outfits that I loved. Oh yeah, this is just a comparison. Like after seeing Marilyn Monroe in her outfit, I'm just like, how the heck does Kim Kardashian fit into that dress?
Sure.
But
yeah, I mean, the Met Gala, like you said, it's like the biggest fashion event for celebrities. What's interesting though is like it's not the kind of fashion that you would ever wear anywhere except the Met Gala. Right. So it's not like, I don't know, there's something about like high-end couture fashion where it's completely impractical for, like, you wouldn't even like wear it to like, I don't know, a club or like the nicest restaurant in your city or whatever, because it's too much. That's like an interesting aspect of fashion where like it's the one event where you wear the thing.
Yeah. And they like design it usually like just for the Met Gala, right? Yeah. And do you know, does a designer reach out and be like, hey, I want to make something for you? Or do they reach out to the designer? Do you have any idea?
It's been a while since I've been invited to the Met Gala, so I don't know.
Designer reached out to you then this year? But often the designer walks with them too, I thought.
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's certainly a showcase of designer talent, even if like you can't wear that particular thing elsewhere. At least you know the designer is capable of producing something that like you could wear to, I don't know, a banquet or something. Yeah,
because that's a good point. Blake Lively only wears a certain designer recently. Can't remember what it is, but it's a common one. There was one other outfit that was really cool, but I don't think I'm going to be able to find it. It was a guy's outfit. And I say it was really cool, but a lot of people's reactions were they were terrified because it kind of looked like a bunch of like spiky, like kind of like from a horror film. I imagine like Beetlejuice type scariness, but it was because of the outfit was like so sharp and I don't know. It's really cool. I'll have to show you after. Yeah. And also say who wore that because I'm not that familiar with his name, so I don't remember it. But I don't know. I was actually... Maybe we can link, if we can't get the images in the episode, maybe we can put a link to like a photo collection from the gala. Good idea. Okay, in the description, If we want to keep talking, we can. I don't have any other content queued up, though. The only content I got is Johnny Depp trial. Yeah. I'll really feel the weight of the responsibility on that one.